Shalom and welcome to my new video. Today we are talking about New Year, Silvester, if about the truth about New Year's Eve, Silvester, the pagan origin of New Year's Eve. Here we are again and on the eve of another new year, and with it the second round of celebrations before the year is over. Before I knew the origin of New Year's Days, it was once one of my favorite holidays and celebrated with gusto. For one, it is a fresh start, a new page. And you know something? Nowadays, I am no longer celebrating it. When they are firing their fireworks, I look at it, but I don't partake. I make no parties. I make nothing. Just staying calm, staying at home. How does the adage go? Out of the old, in with the new. My favorite thing of the new year was being able to better myself, grow and not to repeat the mistakes from the year before. Little did I know that far from being refreshing and about newness, New Year's Day is a holiday steeped in pagan rituals, traditions, some of which are still practiced today. They say ignorance is a bliss. However, this is one instance when ignorance is not a bliss. If you desire to fix that ignorance, read along to find out the pagan origin of New Year's Day. If not, you won't at least stay out of curiosity. The origin of New Year's Day. Humans have celebrated the start of the New Year's for thousands of years. In most cases, these celebrations were linked to artificial and astronomical events. The earliest recorded of New Year's Day celebrations was 400,000 years ago in Babylon. It took place during the first moon following the vernal equinox. Yes, the New Year's year actually begins in spring, not winter. This was so because there was an equal amount of sunlight and darkness heralding the start of a new year in representing the rebirth of the natural world, Akitu. To mark the new year, the Babylonians celebrated a festival called Akitu. It derives from the Sumerian word for barley. The festival lasted 11 days, and a different ritual was conducted on each day. Statues of the gods were projected throughout the streets as rites were conducted to symbolize the victory over the forces of the chaos. The principal god celebrating during this festival was Marduk, Babylonian's sky god. Marduk was celebrated for his mystical victory over the evil sea goddess Tiamat. During Akitu, the new king was crowned or the current monarch's rule extended. The king practiced a public ritual of humiliating during which he has brought before the statue of Marduk. He was stripped of his robes, slapped and dragged by the ears on the hope of making him cry. If he cried, this was seen as a sign that Marduk was satisfied and extended his rule. A new calendar. The modern celebration of New Year's Days originates from the Roman celebration of the god Janus. As is the case with every major holiday, New Year's Day corresponded with the start of a new season, in this case, the vernal equinox. The Romans used a calendar consisting of 10 months and 304 days, with each new year beginning in the spring. Over the centuries, the calendar fell out of sync with the sun. So in 46 BC, Julius Caesar solved the problem. He concluded with the mathematicians and astronomers to create a new calendar based on the sun, which resembles the modern Gregorian calendar. This Caesar instituted January 1st as the first day of the year, particularly in honor of the month's namesake, Janus, the Roman god of change and beginnings. Janus, the god's full name is Janus Bifrons, meaning the god who looked both ways. It explains why Janus has two faces as representation of his ability to look back into the past and forward into the future. This idea was tied to the concept of transition from one year to the next, from one vision to the next, and grows into adulthood. He was also worshipped at the beginning of the harvest season, planting times, marriages, births, deaths, etc. Sometimes referred to as Deum Deo, God of gods. Janus presided over the creation of religion, life, and other gods. For this reason, he was regarded as the most important Roman god. His name was the first uttered in prayers before even than Jupiter. And most of you, Yahweh, Jehovah, refers to Jupiter, Zeus. He inaugurated the seasons of which the first each month were considered sacred to him. The Roman temple in Rome, erected in Janus' honor, was called Janus Geminus. Worship of Janus traditionally dates back to Romulus and even before the founding of Rome. January 7 was the day of his festival called Agonium. Early Romans featured him as on coins, with the one face clean-shaven and the other bearded. During the Renaissance, the two-faced image not only represented the past and the future, but also wisdom. Janus gates, the porter's staff, and the set of keys were the symbols representing Janus before he was the gatekeeper. Therefore, the Latinized name for Janus, Janus, is derived from hua, meaning door. Gates in Rome named after Janus were opened during times of war and closed during time of peace, because of Romans constant wearing the gates only closed twice from the 7th to the 1st century BC. These gates were called Jani, which represented ceremonial gateways. Usually they were freestanding structures that served as symbolic entrances and exits. These gates were also subjected to superstition. The Roman army had to depart by marching through a Janus. The most famous Janus in Rome was Janus Geminus, which was actually a shrine. Pagan traditions. Romans celebrated January 1st by offering sacrifices to Janus in hopes of gaining good fortune in the new year. They decorated their homes with laurel branches and spent the day partying. It was common for friends and family to exchange well wishes and give figs and honey. Gifts were exchanged because they believed the beginning of anything was an omen for the whole. Cakes made of spell souls were offered to Janus and burned at the altar. This was not only done during the New Year celebration, but also on the first of each month. Kissing at the moment of transition into the new year is rooted in pagan sexual practice and superstition. Watch night service were conducted to watch out for evil spirits, which were believed to roam in the earth during those times. Hence comes the tradition of staying up to ring in the new year. Eating pork and black-eyed peas on New Year's Day origin from the homage to Janus. His mystical wife, Kana, goddess of human organs, was honored during her festival with a dish of fava beans and pork bacon. The beans symbolize the rebirth, and pork swine was the preferred sacrificial meat to the gods. New Year's calendar. In medieval Europe, New Year's Day celebrations were deemed pagan, so that in 467 after Christ, the Council of Tours abolished January 1st celebration. It replaced with more religious days such as December 25 and March 25, Feast of Annunciation, or the spring Germanic fertility rites, in attempt to Christianize January celebrations. The Catholic Church celebrated the feast of the circumcision. Supposedly this day, when vaccinated Christ's 8th day of life, following Jewish tradition. In 1582, after the Gregorian calendar was created, Pope Gregory the 13th re-established January 1st as New Year's Day. Protestant countries actually adopted the calendar, except the Britain, who did not embrace it until 1752. Before that, the Empire, along with the American colonies, still observed New Year in March. Adonai's calendar, as we have seen, New Year's Day observed on January 1st is based on ancient pagan tradition. And most traditions practiced on this day are also pagan in origin, because we follow a secular calendar. Our society has been contaminated by paganism right and left. Even the names of the week and months came from pagan gods. So it's no surprise that all our holidays are pagan as well. Adonai created time, and only he has the authority to set beginning and the end of years. The new biblical New Year is observed during Passover. According to Exodus 12, 1 verse 2, the new year begins in the month of Abib, March to April. This follows ancient tradition of observing the new year in spring. The biblical calendar is a lunar calendar, and even here we can see Adonai's perfect handiwork. Science plays a royal role in Adonai's calendar. The Earth's rotation regulates the length of a day. Therefore, the lunar phases indicate the length of a month. Earth's orbit around the Sun indicates the length of a year. The beginning of Adonai's sacred year calendar marked the beginning of seasonal harvests. Time is obedient to Adonai's sovereignty, and so should we. Final thought. As I have urged in my previous articles in this series, please do your own research and do not take anything I say as face value, and read with humility and without preconception notions. The truth always triumphs at the end, but the decisions to believe or not is just up to us. Don't allow pride to blind you. Love Adonai above your traditions. Ask him what to do with this information. Don't ignore conviction. Don't justify or rationalize with your desire to keep celebrating these pagan holidays, but always bring this issue to Adonai, and he will show you what you must do. That's the only guidance to need. And we talk right now over the 4 New Years hidden in the Bible, because we have 4. the 4 new years. And many of you are thinking I'm talking about something weird. According to the Mishnah, 4 different New Years are observed. Rosh Hashanah, the first of Tishri, the first of Abib or Nisan, when Exodus began, the first of Elul, and 2 Bishavat, the 5th of Shevat. Each one defines the beginning of a year for different legal or ecclesiastical purpose. What are the different, the 4 new years? There are 4 new years on the Jewish calendar. The first of Elul, the beginning of tax year for animals. Rosh Hashanah, the first Tishri, a religious and spiritual beginning. That means that's why the civilian year in Israel starts on Rosh Hashanah. The biblical one, the first of Nisan or Abib, the first month in the Torah, freedom for the Jews when they left Egypt. That is the biblical beginning. The biblical beginning is different from the civilian beginning. Beshavat, the new years for trees. In the time of the Torah, the beginning of the tax year for fruits and vegetables. That is about the 10 parts for the Levites, and also that you bring the 10th of your first fruits of a new tree. And I hope you will understand that we are not supposed to keep any weird pagan deities and whatever, and that you cannot choose for yourself whatever you want. After watching this video, you will have no longer any excuse. And I hope you have listened to my video, and it is the last, I think purposely the last of my videos for this pagan new year. And let us wake up back to the truth, back to God, because it matters. It is not nothing what we can play with. Shalom.